Okay.
Okay. There are very few things left on the table that have been untouched, but the Alka-Seltzer is necessary. That's our ammunition for this little project here. So I'm going to pull it out, and so we don't ruin the ceiling anywhere. But you only use a quarter of a capsule or a piece, whatever. That's close enough. Because you got to get enough pressure in here with enough gas evolution, carbon dioxide. So we got water, about water. Okay, I filled about half the canister. And this is a great trick activity. We did this down at Wow.
Wade over Wednesdays.
Wade over Wednesdays.
Okay.
And I did the thing with everybody, and we have 15 people lined up on the sidewalk. And there would be kids all, just the kids were allowed to perform. And we passed out goggles, and the commands were very intense. Don't fool around with this because the goggles are there for a purpose too. Okay, so basically, this is going to go table by table. You can find spots that have a high ceiling. We've got the highest, probably about the.
Tell you what, let's put it back here. There's nothing but tiles back here. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so table number one, you guys should come up and gather around and watch this.
Okay, now the commands are pretty simple. When I did it with the kids, you put the Alka-Seltzer pill and the water. First thing is you put it in there. Second thing, you immediately put the cap on. Immediately put the cap on. And flip it over, and no, don't flip it. Just lay it down and
On your tray.
get
Oh, it's
on the
around.
On the tray, sir.
Well, put it on the tray.
Oh, yes, and put the water in it.
Okay, so here we go. We
Okay.
got plenty of Alka-Seltzer. We can play with this thing. All right. I'm going to start with about a quarter.
Yes, the quarter is what you need.
And then, actually, it works better this way. You can do it faster. We did a good one at the library in Orange the other day. That was really cool. Went about 25 feet in the air. 1, 2. Now, there's a situation where you might water lubricate the lid.
Hello.
Let's try again.
Do not let the kids go up and retrieve their canisters. I was under the impression everybody had a canister at their place.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
But we're okay with this being a demo.
okay, that's fine.
I know.
I don't know why that thing didn't take off on us yet.
It did, put that one down.
As soon as you get close, it
It's
goes.
gonna
Yeah.
go.
That was a real bullet.
Oh.
We'll see if lubricating the inside does any better. We had to sit around for about a minute.
Yeah.
Watch the first one.
Excitement builds.
The intensity is, once these kids see the first one go off, they want to move.
All the kids will have their own canisters, and you have them about half filled with water. Each kid gets a Alka-Seltzer tablet, but they don't do anything until you tell them to. Have them gather around the table, or gather around the tray, and when you tell them, they'll put their Alka-Seltzer capsule in, put the caps on, sit them on the tray, and get back at least 5 or 10 feet. Okay? And that is our imitation of what happens with an erupting volcano. Okay? Dr. Waiter, if you would hit the lights one more time.
We can look at our.
We're going to look at the chalk under the UV light. So everybody get their chalk. We're going to see what the chalk looks like. If this thing, there we go. It's going to look okay because you can see what the. Okay, thank you. All right, whoops. It's a nice extension cord, but it's a little on the heavy side. Okay, look at your chalk. Okay, it is fluorescing because of the fluorescent dye. So that's what's going to happen at night if you take the chalk home and you write on the sidewalk with it, students. And you can see where you dropped a little bit of the powder.
Or a lot.
Okay.
And this is
Alrighty,
a
I
good,
think
this is
that
a
makes
good
the
place to talk about covering the tables with newspaper or
Yes.
something, because otherwise you end up with orange fluorescent powder everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Now, if the tables have surfaces, though, that are impervious, it shouldn't matter all that much.
You still got to clean it up.
Still gotta
Yeah,
clean
you
it
still
up.
have to wipe it up.
Okay, alrighty. That pretty much concludes the program. Remember, the kids can take home with them their rock collection that they created. They can take the 2 film canisters, the one from the chalk and the one from the rocket, or not the rocket, but the cinder cone volcano. And of course, they can take their chalk with them. And that's about it. Everything else in their kit, there are 2 9x12 manila envelopes. One has some literature in it and the forms that you guys have been working from. There's also one of those forms is a student feedback form. There's a pencil there. If you would ask the students to complete the feedback form at this point, it's very simple, just did you like it or didn't you like it, and so forth. And lastly, before you go, you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need your kits. Mark has those over in his lab with the labels that are made out for your name, with your name and your location on them. As Mark gives you a kit, whether it's a partial or a full kit, you'll see. You'll put your name on the kit, and you take it with you. That's how we know that you got your kit, because your name is no longer with the labels. Secondly, you're going to need a UV light. There's UV lights over here. I recommend that you take some of the ones that are in the square containers, rectangular containers. But before you leave today, there's 2 things you need to do. And also, of course, you need a set of goggles if you don't have them. Number 1, make sure your light works. So plug the silly thing in somewhere before you leave today and make sure that it works. And number 2, please check your kits. I know one of the full kits, as I was completing them the other day, I was putting some literature in, and I took a bag 1B out of one of the full kits. I don't know which kit I took it out of, and I'm not going to go through a mountain of kits. So one of the full kits is missing bag 1B. You have in your kit 7 bags. You have 1A and 1B that go with the chalk experiment. Then you have 5 others, for experiments 2 through 6, okay? Make sure that you have all 7 bags, okay? 1A, 1B, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 5 and 6. That's it. 7 bags. Make sure that experiments 4 and 6, those bags have Alka-Seltzer tablets in there. Okay? So make sure you have the 7 bags, and make sure you have Alka-Seltzer in those kits. Okay? Thank you for coming. Thank the kids for coming. And Bobby, you have a question?
What besides the UV lamp and the goggles needs to be returned, if anything?
There's stuff on, I think it's page 36 of the script that tells you what needs to be returned. And you have a second manila envelope that tells you what needs to be returned.
Looks like pencils, street plates, and magnifying glasses,
That's right.
and then the paperwork.
That's right, and that's it.
Okay?
And of course, the goggles and the UV lights.
So
You know, we have a
you don't want
suggestion
the,
here.
No, I don't want any vials back. Don't want any
This
cups
is
back.
20 cc's of water, and it was almost too thick to put in there, and she is 30, and that looks pretty smooth.
30 cc's
So
of water.
25 to 30 in that
Okay,
range.
25 to 30 cc's of water for the chalk. 40 was just a bit much. It might have worked eventually, but
It does.
it would have taken a while. It does? The 40 does?
Yeah.
The 40 does work, huh?
Yeah.
So if somebody uses according to the script, they'll be okay.
Yeah, just requires more.
But it finished by the time we were done, right? Okay. Any more questions, guys?
It looks really good.
Thank you for coming. Please don't return any cups, any vials, any bottles. Empty those lava lamp bottles out. It's just corn oil and water. I imagine it's right down the drain. Okay? And put the goggles back in the
Not down
kids'-
my drain,
Why not?
because the oil will harden and you'll end up,
Oil will harden.
I would put it in a container and throw it out with the solid waste.
Either that or.
That's just me.
They could dump it down the
Yes, that
Johnson.
would probably be good.
You could empty the.
I wouldn't throw it down the kitchen drain, because you're gonna end up with a clog
Not a
somewhere.
good idea, huh? Okay.
No,
So don't dump the corn oil down the kitchen drain.